It started with a text I don't remember sending. Party at mine this Saturday, everyone's invited. I supposedly sent it out on Thursday night. But when I checked my messages the next day, nothing. No sent messages, no group texts, nothing in my outbox. And yet all my friends showed up. It was my 17th birthday. My parents had gone to a wedding out of town, leaving me with the house for the weekend. I wasn't planning a party, I swear that. But at 7:45 p.m., people began arriving. Connor, my best friend, walked in with a six-pack and said, "Nice job hiding it from your parents, man." I just blinked. "What are you talking about?" He showed me the text. It was from my number, my exact wording, my contact photo. Except it wasn't me. I brushed it off. Thought maybe I had typed it half asleep or someone used my phone. Besides, a party didn't sound like the worst thing in the world. By 9 p.m., the house was full. Music pumping, red plastic cups, people dancing in the living room, the kind of suburban chaos teenagers dream about. But something was off. I saw people I didn't know, not just friends of friends, strangers. And not just strangers, weirdly familiar strangers. One girl called me Danny. No one has called me Danny since I was 10. She smiled like she knew me, really knew me. She said, "You threw one hell of a party, Megan." I laughed awkwardly. "Have we met?" She tilted her head. "Of course we have, you just don't remember yet." Then she vanished into the crowd. Later, the lights flickered. Not dramatically. Just enough to make you wonder if it really happened. The music stuttered, like the record skipped, though we weren't using records. The shadows in the corners stretched even though the lights hadn't changed. And then I saw it. The hallway. A door next to the downstairs bathroom that had never existed before. Narrow, pale wood, a brass knob slightly open. A cold draft crept out of it like a breath. I stood there staring at it. My skin prickled, my chest tightened. Connor walked by and I asked him, "Has that door always been there?" He frowned. "What door?" I pointed at it. It was gone. Just a solid wall. I blinked, rubbed my eyes. Gone. By midnight, things got stranger. People became distant. Conversations turned repetitive. Someone would laugh, then 5 minutes later laugh again at nothing at all. One guy stood in front of the mirror in the hallway for 20 minutes, just staring, not moving. I went up to him and tapped his shoulder. He whispered without turning, "This isn't your first birthday here." My blood ran cold. I tried to find Connor, couldn't. The music was too loud, the rooms too crowded. I called out his name, nothing. Then, in the corner of the living room, I saw myself. Not a reflection. Someone who looked exactly like me, down to the shirt, the socks, even the scrape on my left wrist I got during gym class. He sat quietly on the couch, staring at the hallway wall, where the door had been. Then he turned and smiled. I ran. Not far, just to the bathroom. Splashed cold water on my face. I was losing it, right? But when I looked into the mirror, I wasn't there. The reflection showed the bathroom, the sink, the door behind me, but no me. I don't remember falling asleep. But I woke up the next morning in my bed. Alone. No signs of a party. No cups, no music, no trash, no people. Everything was exactly how I left it before the guests arrived. Except, there were photos on my phone. Dozens. Of me, of friends, of people I didn't recognize. And in one of them, a blurry shot taken down a narrow hallway, I was standing at the far end. Or something that looked like me, staring straight into the camera. Eyes black, smiling. I called Connor. He hadn't come to the party. Said he never got a message. Said he'd been out of town with his mom. When I pushed him, he got annoyed. Said I'd been distant for weeks. Said I was acting different, like I was trying to be someone else, or something else. It's been 5 years now. I moved twice, changed my number, started fresh. But every year a door appears on my birthday. Not always in the same place. Sometimes it's behind the fridge. sometimes in the mirror. Once it was on a bus. I blinked and it was gone. But every time I see it, I hear a voice whisper, "Nice party, Danny, let's do it again." It was supposed to be just a small get-together. Fall of 2021. I'd moved into a new apartment in a quiet part of town. Nothing fancy, just a 2-bedroom place near the woods, with outdated tiles and thin walls. But it was mine. To celebrate, my friend suggested a housewarming party. Nothing big, just 8 or 9 people, some drinks, music, and pizza. That night, they all arrived around 8 p.m. By 10, the place was buzzing, music low, people laughing, bottles clinking. But there was one guest I didn't recognize. He wasn't introduced. He didn't speak. Just stood in the hallway near the coat rack, watching. At first, I assumed he was someone's friend, maybe a +1 who didn't know anyone else. I even nodded and said, "Hey, glad you could make it." He just nodded back without blinking. I brushed it off. But around midnight, people began leaving. My best friend Nina was the last to go. She gave me a hug and joked, "Great party, Pa, but next time invite fewer statues." I laughed. She added, "Seriously though, that guy in the hall gave me the creeps." I turned to look, but he was gone. The next morning I found something strange. A glass on the kitchen counter, full of water. Ice hadn't melted yet, but I didn't remember anyone drinking water. And there were wet footprints leading from the hallway into the spare bedroom. I checked. Nothing inside. Just a quiet, untouched room, with one window slightly cracked open. And on the window pane, someone had drawn a smiley face with their finger. I locked the room and tried to forget. But that night I heard it. The sound of someone walking down the hall. Slow, steady steps. Floorboards creaking under weight. I froze. I was alone. I crept out of bed and checked the hallway. Nothing there. But when I looked at the spare room door, it was open. I didn't sleep. The next day, I asked every guest from the party if they brought a friend. Every single one of them said no. Even Nina. "He wasn't with us. I thought you knew him." Weird things kept happening. Small things at first. The hallway light flickering, doors closing on their own, my keys missing, then reappearing in the fridge. But then came the dreams. Dreams where I was back at the party, but everyone had blurred faces. Except for him, the man from the hallway. In the dream, he'd whisper, "Thanks for letting me in." I tried burning sage, putting salt at the doors, even got a priest to bless the place. It got worse. Sometimes I'd come home and the TV would be on, playing static. Once I found muddy footprints inside the bathroom leading to the mirror, where someone had written, "Still here." One night, I set up a camera in the hallway. I didn't want to watch the footage, but the next morning I found it playing on repeat. A loop of the hallway, empty, until 3:17 a.m. Then a movement. A tall figure walking from the spare room into the living room. Stopping, turning toward the camera, staring, then vanishing. I moved out 2 days later. Left everything, even the deposit. When the landlord called, asking if I'd left the second bedroom locked on purpose, I said yes. He told me something strange. That room used to be sealed up. Previous tenant broke the lock. He said someone was living in the walls. Sometimes I still dream about the party, the laughter, the music, and the man in the hallway, smiling, waiting for another invitation. It was Halloween 2022, and I hadn't planned anything big. Just a quiet movie night with 2 close friends, Alex and Jess, in my rented townhouse. A break from work. Popcorn. Slasher flicks. Nothing out of the ordinary. Except, last minute, Jess invited her cousin Mia. Said she had nowhere else to go. I said sure. What harm could one more person bring? Mia showed up late. She was quiet, polite. Sat near the base of the stairs, barely spoke a word. Said she wasn't feeling well. Pale as paper. We offered her tea. She declined. Said she just wanted to sit. Midway through the movie, I got up to use the bathroom upstairs. As I passed her, I noticed something strange. She was staring intently, not at the TV, but at the staircase. Like she was waiting for something to come down or go up. I paused, then whispered, "You okay?" She nodded, eyes locked on the banister. "She always watches from here," she said. I thought she meant the movie, but she didn't. The night ended around 2 a.m. Alex left first. Jess went last, helped Mia to the door, who now looked more tired than ever. I offered to call her a ride, but she said, "No need, she'll walk me home." I asked who. Mia smiled, then glanced back at the stairs. "The girl, the one who lives here." Then she left. I didn't sleep. Every creak in the stairs that night made my skin crawl. By morning, I tried to shrug it off as Halloween nerves. I even laughed about it. But the weirdness wasn't done. Over the next week, little things changed. Lights would flicker only at the staircase. Shoes left on the bottom step would be found on the top, arranged neatly. And some mornings I'd wake up to find the closet door wide open, even though I never use it. Then one night I came home late and found muddy footprints, small ones like a child's, leading down the stairs. I followed them, step by step, a heart thudding. They ended at the kitchen, but the door was locked, no windows open. Just me, and the faint smell of lavender, like a child's shampoo. That night I heard giggling, soft but faint, from the stairwell. Then, a knock at my bedroom door. 3 gentle taps. I opened it immediately, no one there. Just a folded piece of paper on the floor. It had a drawing on it, stick figures, one tall, one small. And under it, written in crayon, "You can live here too." I called Jess the next morning, demanded answers. She was silent for a long time, then said, "I didn't want to tell you, but Mia used to live in that house. Her sister died on those stairs, fell when she was 7. I asked why Mia didn't say anything. She said, "She doesn't talk about her, she just lets her come along sometimes." I moved out within the month, didn't even sell the lease. But even now, sometimes in dreams, I see that staircase again. And at the bottom, a pale little girl in old pajamas holding hands with someone else, smiling up at me, waiting for me to come down. If you made it this far, thank you for spending your night with us. If these stories gave you chills, there's plenty more waiting. Don't forget to subscribe to Night Fear Stories for new terrifying tales every single night. Sleep well, if you can.